Thank you. And I would like to thank the organizers of this event, connecting the scholarly research from around the world. And it's lovely to see so many familiar faces. My name is Siv Stavem, and I'm working as an educational planner at Norconsult, which is a Norwegian consultancy on engineering and architecture. My background is from education. Currently, I'm a PhD candidate in education on an industrial scheme at the University of Oslo. And I'm afraid I have a written manuscript here today because 10 minutes is short time. So the main objective of this paper is to explore how learning spaces emerge within different designs for the built environments and within networks of actors such as teachers and students, as well as non-human actors such as walls, windows, chairs, or tables. Particular attention is paid to visual and existential aspects. Previous studies have emphasized that spaces were considered the products of social, physical, and material aspects interacting together. Learning spaces are transformed, produced, and developed, and ready-made models do not fit into new contexts. The relationship between design and practice is crucial to the production of a building that can be used effectively. By applying elements from actor network theory, the learning spaces are considered a network and an effect of social processes and relations between actors and actor networks. The ANT approach is not about giving artifacts human status, but rather investigating and understanding relations to what is not us. The central educational authorities have established no regulations or guidelines regarding how design and functionality are connected, which leads to diversity in school design in Norway, spanning from open and flexible learning environments to classrooms and corridors. In my paper, I draw on observations and interview data from 3 schools in 3 municipal local governments. 1 school each from Oslo, Bergen, and Trondheim municipal local governments in Norway was selected after suggestions from the 3 local governments. A criterion for selection was that the school building must have been completed within the last 5 years and have replaced an old building or appear as an appendix to an older school building. I assumed that these requirements indicated an increased focus on the physical learning environments among the teachers. I chose to narrow my scope to the school's grades 3 and 4, as teaching and learning for grades 5 to 10 draw more on specialized rooms like science labs and art rooms. Through the observations of the teaching process, I explored which visible actors were part of the physical learning environments and how the visible actors related to each other. This is my drawing of one of the classrooms and a section of my protocol for actions in the classroom. The hearing interview is a technique that was developed to allow interviewers to gather relational data on a flat level and to make the informants reflect on the practice. Thus, it was advantageous to conduct the interviews shortly after the observed practice. I asked the informants short and direct questions about things, practices, or elements from the observations to describe how, when, and with whom the thing appeared in the teaching and what happened when it did. I also asked them to think back on the last time they used a thing or element in the teaching and whether they could recall other moments and other actors involving this element in the teaching processes. This is the Oslo classroom, which was designed for 30 students, but at the moment they only have 17 students. In the background, you can see the yellow cat-like head, which is actually a sort of a cave for reading, like a breakout space. But you have to go out of the classroom door to enter the reading cave. And there's a window next to the door. And they had glazed walls, then windows to the corridor. They had window to breakout space. They had also big windows to a field, and they had automatic blinds. And they also had some. All the breakout spaces were shared with another class. This is a Bergen classroom. They had several breakout spaces too, which they did not share with other classes. So in the background here, you can see on the right-hand side, you can see that is actually not a breakout space. It's an emergency escape space. And then in the black door in the middle is a breakout space. And also to the left, there's another breakout room. They also had blinds and glazed walls. And you can observe that the blinds are down on the window to the left. In Trondheim, they had a lovely view of the sea from the window. They had also breakout spaces down the corridor and window to the corridor next to the door. That's a window. It's a bit difficult to see on this drawing. And the extensional or the breakout rooms and bathrooms. And there are many stories to share that I got through the year, the observations and the interviews. And to make this presentation short without just touching the surface of the analysis, I've picked just a small selection of the stories here. The Oslo students were let to go to the bathroom during lessons. And when the students returned from the bathroom, they had to knock on the window by the door to be let in by the teacher or a fellow student, as the door to the classroom had a snap lock. So they were actually locked out of the classroom if they had to leave it. And Bruno Latour explored how artifacts can replace, shape, and limit human actions, and referred to this as the missing masses in society. To understand how society works, we must understand the role of technologies. In the studied setting, the snap lock served as the gate to adjacent spaces and provided limitations on how the spaces were used. Because this did not just concern when they went to the bathroom, but also to the lovely reading caves and breakout spaces outside of the classroom. Because the playfully designed breakout spaces for small groups were just occasionally used for reading, and during my day of observations, they were not in use at all. Oh. And at the Bergen School, the small space that led to the emergency exit had limitations in terms of furnishing, but was used by the students as a quiet space for reading and writing. Adjacent to the classroom area in Bergen was an accessible toilet with greater space. The teachers explained how the accessible toilet actually served as a breakout space in station teaching, because it was big enough for a group of students and because the bathroom had specific qualities that were appreciated. The previous week, for example, the students had learned about measuring volumes, and the low, wide sink in the accessible toilet was excellent for a group of students to measure water in a liter measure. Previously, the students had also chosen the accessible toilet as a useful place to make voice recordings because the acoustics were different than in other rooms. In the words of Latour, walls, furniture, technology, and other familiar sites in a school building can be said to be vehicles of generic content. The students and teachers in Bergen understood the generic content, but they also added to the content for both the accessible bathroom and the space at the emergency exit. By twisting and turning these spaces through interactions, translations, and interrelations between teachers, students and other actors. The accessible bathroom and the space at the emergency exit became actors in the local teaching process. The architect who designed the building appeared as a silent actor in the design of the walls and the spaces between them, having left messages for the future actors. However, the architect's voice became louder and clearer when elements in the architecture, such as the windows to the noisy road in Bergen, provided obstacles for the teaching and learning in the classroom. And the teacher commented how the road was not taken into account when they planned and designed the new school building, because the window could be opened, but during lessons it was too noisy to have it open anyway. The articulation of the window was obvious for the teacher. It could be kept open or shut. However, when teachers and students started using it, a problem occurred as the noise from the outside appeared as a local and situated interaction and entered the learning space, drowning out the interaction of students and teachers. Also, this Bergen school had classrooms facing north, which should lead to little or no glare from the sun, and it therefore had been provided with windows with no blinds. However, the bright white color of the neighboring building reflects the sunlight, so the school has mounted roller blinds on the inside, and those are kept down on sunny days. At the same time, teaching practices are the effects of design and architecture. For example, glass walls require training if they are to be handled successfully, and it requires repetition before station work will run smoothly. The accessible toilet and the emergency exit space at one school are included in the overall learning space, expanding that and transforming these add-on areas into breakout spaces. That twist was not the message left there from the architects or the planners, but was a network effect within the learning space. Mediators bring into practice other agencies contributing to framing the teaching. So the final comment, in the teaching process, the human and non-human actors simultaneously adapt and are adapted. And within this assemblage, the learning spaces emerge. Thank you.